You've never done any form of breath work?
I do Vipassana, a seated meditation. So I do breath work all the time,
That's cool.
but
Yeah,
not this kind. This is
Vipassana's
intense.
good. Yeah, it's like holotropic thing. It's like if you do it long enough, it becomes kind of like a almost like a pseudo psychedelic type experience.
Oh, trippy.
Vipassana, Vipassana is great as well. Have you done a an extended Vipassana, like 10 day?
A 10-day?
Yeah, are you not over? Do you
I
not
don't
know
think
about
there's
that?
anyone in the world that can do 10 days of Vipassana practice.
Vipassana, the Gwenka thing. They're you go in, you do the 10-day thing, you sit, you wake up at 4 in the morning, you do like an hour long sit, and you have like a little like hour
Oh,
break in between. You
like
do
a
that until the
retreat.
evening retreat. Yeah.
No, I've never done any retreats. Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
thing. Do you do Vipassana like an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening?
I do it almost every second that I'm not focused on anything else.
Oh,
It's my
cool.
default state.
Wow. So you're playing. So are you playing with in Vipassana as you go through? Like I did the 10-day retreat. We could just make this a podcast and be going.
Sure.
So in the 10-day retreat, because one of the things I was interested in talking to you was about the potential value of visualization, and particularly visualization tying into like neuromuscular activation.
Okay.
And that's been done along. There's been research around like thumb strength and wrist strength and things of the sort. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, just visualizing the action kind of
Mm-hmm.
starts to activate that
Mm-hmm.
from a neurological perspective, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Sure,
So you can kind
sure.
of train all the time. Is that something that tell me what you do with your Vipassana experience
Yeah.
throughout the
So
day.
Vipassana is only ever one thing, as far as I know, and that is you watch the breath, and that's it.
So in the retreat with Gwenka, so the baseline. Are you familiar with Gwenka? He's like the guy that kind of created the main. Is Vipassana and Vipassana? It's the same thing, right? V
I
I
assume
P
so.
A S S. All right.
It's the original meditative tradition that Buddha
So
practiced, as far as I know. But,
okay, interesting. Well, Anapanasati would be the literal like following the breath, like that style
mm-hmm.
of meditation. Vipassana, which was popularized by a guy called I think C.S. Gwenka or Gwenka. You go into a 10-day retreat, they teach you how to do Vipassana, and that starts off for the first like 3 days. All you do is follow the breath. That's the only thing. So you're just doing Anapanasati, which is just a Sanskrit word for being following the breath.
Mm-hmm.
And then it transitions into this experience where you're actually visualizing your kinesthetic experience in all the different parts of your
Oh
body.
yeah, no, I don't do any of that stuff.
Okay, so that's like Vipassana extended version.
I
Is
see.
you go through and you can start to
Yeah,
experience the entirety of your body, and then you can start to
interesting,
go in and do like visceral tissue, and it's a whole thing.
interesting.
Yeah,
So, I have a lot to say about that.
yeah.
But one thing I'll say is my meditative practice is more mind focused than body focused by a significant extent.
Mm.
So my breath practice takes me to mental worlds instead of examining the sensory perception of my physical world.
Mm.
And it's my meditative practice has almost nothing to do with physical fitness at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's exclusively mental, pretty much. So
Mm.
I have heard of people sort of examining their bodies and stuff like that. To be honest, I think a lot of that is pretend, but that gets into significantly deeper conversations about.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean pretend? Like they're just delusional?
You can't actually feel most of your organs. They're not wired for you to feel them.
Mm.
And if you connect with certain organs or certain functions of yourself, like people will connect with their digestive process, that I think in most cases is them creating a mental construct subconsciously called my digestion. And then they interact with that mental construct with other mental constructs. And because that construct is, well, imagined in the literal sense, it's illusory.
Mm.
And you then can become attached to it and think, okay, this is my digestion happening. I perceive it. But in reality, you're not perceiving it. You are manufacturing it. And so it's another layer of illusion as far as I can tell.
Mm.
And so what I prefer to do is to observe experience. The breath is not the only way, but a great way to center that experience. because it's autonomic and it just keeps going. So it's the like, if your breath stops, you're dead anyway. So no worries. So if your
Yeah.
breath keeps going, it's a truly deep external marker that you also can't attach to, because your breath goes up and it goes down. There's actually nothing to attach to there. But by the breath being a constant reference frame you can bring yourself back into, a lot of the constructs around the rest of your mental framework start to fall off. They just sort of quiet down. And then I think you've done a lot of reading on this. So maybe you've read about the Great Silence. Have you ever heard about the Great Silence?
No, what's up?
It's seemingly one step removed from nirvana. It's one step before nirvana. But if you sit in practice for long enough and become at peace enough, you're left in a place with no thought and just raw experience of the now. That is the Great Silence, because holy shit, is there just nothing there. It's insanely profound. When I'm in my meditative practice, in the best situations possible, that's where I end up. That's the only place. And I don't want to say I want to go, because here's the trick. If you want to go to the Great Silence, you're attached to the idea of the Great Silence, and then you focus on the idea, but it's not an idea, it's an experience. So you have to practice going into meditative states, not wanting anything out of them. You just there and you just examine the breath. And if you sit with your breathing long enough, all of that other stuff is shown to you at some point.
Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. If you did, feel free to tag a part of it. You can tag me at Aaron Alexander on Instagram. Recently changed the handle from Align Podcast to Aaron Alexander. That was a long process of procuring that mofo, but we were able to get it, which is cool, convenient. So you can tag me at Aaron Alexander. You can also tag Sean at Sean Model, I believe is his Instagram handle. And feel free to jump over to the Align Podcast YouTube channel, subscribe over there so you get each week's videos. That is it. That is all. Thank you all. I'll see you next week.